So I'm going to start recording the class. So that's great. That's great. I mean, contribution from all of you. Okay, so it's 7:02 p.m. and we are going right into it. So kindly permit me to share my screen with all of you. So I'm going to put off my camera and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so share screen, window, entire screen, share. Okay, please can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure, we can see your screen.
okay, great, great, that's great. Okay, so right now at the moment I'm going to mute everyone. I'll mute everyone so that I can be able to flow very quickly. Okay, so I am going to open the software we are going to use, Adobe Photoshop. Please, can you all see my screen? Please, can you all see my screen? Okay, no, okay, all right, sure, you can see, I can see. Okay, so let me give an access to someone. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So this is Photoshop. So immediately, okay, so let me close Photoshop and then let me open Photoshop again. So I just search for Photoshop and then I get Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. So I am using the 2022 version. Then I click on Adobe Photoshop. So for this class, we are going to use Adobe Photoshop for the designing. Okay, so it will load a bit. Let me decrease this. Let me decrease this. Okay, so it is just let it load so that we can start. Okay, so when you load it, it will take a little bit of time depending on your specs, depending on your machine specs. It will take a little bit of time before it comes. So we should just hold on tight so it is loading. So what is Photoshop? Photoshop is a software that we use for designing, modification, and making editing. We even use it for photography. All the most of the photography first. After them using the Lightroom to do the normal filter and other things, they come to Photoshop to actually do the retouching. So Photoshop is basically an editing software and a designing software too as well. We use it to manipulate images. We use it to do other things. So for today, we are going to learn the basics about Photoshop on Photoshop, and let me say it like that. We are going to learn introduction to the Photoshop interface. So when I open the Photoshop, this is what I have. So Photoshop says, "Welcome to Photoshop, Dogbe." My name is Dogbe, so it uses the Dogbe. And then this is some of the works I've been doing so far with my Photoshop application. So when you start designing with it, anytime you go out of the software and you come again, it gives you the recent, so you can just click on it. So this is the interface. So this is the Photoshop icon. I can decide to click here on the Photoshop icon. I hope all of you can see my mouse. Please, can you see my mouse?
Yes, I can. We can see your mouse.
Okay, so this is just the interface. So when you come to Photoshop, you see this first. This will guide you to on how to start, how to begin everything in Photoshop. Why do we use Photoshop? Photoshop is one of the open source software. When I say open source, one of the softwares that you can use in designing quality, flyers, logos and other stuff. We also have design tools like phone apps like Canva. We have Illustrator for logos and other things. But Photoshop is one of the basics that we all use as a designer. When you want to start designing, everybody use Photoshop. So this is it. So when you want to create something, when you want to start creating something, you just go to create new. You can click on create new. Create new will open a panel for you. So you can see over here, it says recent, saved, photo, print, art illustration, web, mobile and film. The recent means what you are working on currently. So when I open Photoshop the first time, the sizes that I use, it has given me all that I use. And then the saved means that okay, you are working with one size, but you don't want to you don't want to always come and then you enter. So you would save it so that when you come, you just click on it. It's just like a template. When you come, you just click on it. So you realize that over here I have done here my size. I hope you can see.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay, great. So the photo also gives you a preset. When I say preset, something that has already been done. Preset can be defined as a template. So for instance, when you use what should I use? Template. For instance, when you are using Word and you want to design a certificate, they can give you template. So Photoshop also gives you template of photo sizes. When I say photo sizes, like let's say when you were uploading your picture in the portal, it gives you a photo size. So we have landscape, we have portrait. That are the two photo sizes we have. So you can put it down, you can write it down anywhere you want. And then we have print. Print basically means how orientations of how designs are being done. So you see, we have A3, like we have A4 sheets and all that. They are basic orientation. So I have saved um, 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 a normal blank preset which I have named letter. That means that letter uses this particular size. Please, I hope you understand. So first, before you come into Photoshop, you are supposed to know, this is one tip I am giving you. You are supposed to know the size that the person need. Maybe you are going to design for someone, you are supposed to know the size. Let's say just before we started the class, somebody tested me that he needs a complementary size. I don't put all these things into my head, so I just go online, complementary card size. Everybody use default until the person tells you that, or you have a particular size that they are working with, then they give it to you that, okay, use this size to work. So these are basically art and illustration. You can, after the class, you can go around it and then just work around it. We have web um, um, dimensions, we have mobile dimensions, we have film and video dimensions. Okay, so I'll just go to this side. This is where we are going to create our Photoshop document. So we are going to create our dimension. When you want to start working in Photoshop, you need to have a dimension you are working with. You need to have a size. Just like the tailors, when they want to sew, they need to take your size before they can work with. So that's how designing in Photoshop also is like. You need to have a size, a specific size that you want to work with. Please, I hope you are following.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sure.
Okay, great. So in Photoshop, you are supposed to know basic sizes. So for instance, when you look at Instagram has a square type of posting, how do I say it for you to understand? A square type of dimensions. Yes. And then Facebook has a portrait size. TikTok also uses portrait. Reels on Instagram thread also uses portrait. So depending on what you want to do. So for instance, the flyer that I did and then I posted in a group day one, I used an Instagram size. We have dimension sizes such as inches, centimeters, millimeters, pixels. I hope you understand all this. I hope some of us know this: centimeters, millimeters, inches, and then all that. Please, I hope you understand.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So basically, in Photoshop, the first thing that you're supposed to do before you start any work is the size. Put it down. Is the size. You're supposed to know the size. So somebody wants to do a funeral banner, you need to know the size that the person wants. If that the person wants A4 portrait or A4 landscape, A2 portrait or A3 landscape. I hope you understand. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the Instagram size. So I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to use inches. So I go to the width. So in dimensions, we have width and height. I hope you understand. Just like a human body, we have the width, we have the size. Just like you are going to design anything, your book, you have width and height. Your laptop, you have width and height. Your phone, you have width. So in designing, these are the basic principles in designing. In designing, you need to know the width and then the height. Please, you understand? And then the width and then the height can be determined in inches, centimeters, millimeters, pixels in Photoshop. Keep these ones down. So for instance, I'm going to say, I'll go over here and I'll say the width I want to use 10. And then I'm going to say, okay, I want it in inches. Please, do you understand? When you when you use When you come here, you see pixels, you see inches, you see centimeters, you see millimeters, you see point, you see pickers. So let me explain the pixels. You see, when you have an image and then you zoom the image, in, it gives you boxes of how the image is. So the pixels are smaller boxes that comes together to form an image. I hope you understand.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. So since some of you, and please, if you don't understand anything, you can drop the question in the group. Somebody is currently there to reply to you. Okay. So I'm going, for me, for instance, I'm not going to use pixels now. I'm going to use inches. But if I click on pixels, it will give me 3,000 pixels. So pixels is calculated in the thousands, and then inches is just inch. So you see something like 12 inches make 1 feet. 1 feet make 12 inches. Those are a little bit of things that we did in primary. So I'm going to use inches for the width, 10 inches for the width, and then 10 inches for the height. So when you look over here, you see something called orientation. Orientation basically means how you want the image or the work you are going to do to look like. So orientation, we have two types of orientation. We have landscape, and then we have portrait. Please, I hope you understand. If you tilt your phone that you are holding right now, your phone you are holding right now is in a portrait form. When you tilt it, like if you are watching a YouTube video, you want to have the full screen, you have tilted it in the what? In the landscape form. I hope you understand. So that is basically what orientation does. Resolution, yes, this is very key. Resolution shows how your work, your picture, your flyer is going to show out when it comes out. So for instance, if you take a very close look at the flyer that I posted in the page day one, you realize that even though I have sent it to WhatsApp have not reduced the quality because I used 300 resolution. But note something, your resolution will work better if you have a higher specs of machine. That is, if your specification of your machine is higher.
Mr. Simon.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Simon.
Yes, sir. I'm listening, sir. Hello,
Mr.
I'm listening.
Simon.
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
Okay, I wanted to tell you that maybe I think some of us, our network is not working for us, and it's
Okay.
making. I think some of us, the network is very bad for us.
Okay.
So, are we going to have a theory after this class?
Theory. You want to have the theory part of the class
Being
or the video?
yes, yes,
The
yes.
video will be
When the
uploaded right.
class is done.
Yes, the video will be uploaded right after the class.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Oh,
but
okay.
it is good to stay in
Oh,
the
okay.
class so that you hear some of the things, so that it's not like you are going to be new to some of the things. I hope you
Awesome.
understand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. Okay,
Thank
sure.
you.
Okay, you're welcome. So that is basically resolution, and then the resolution can be decided in pixels and inches or pixels and centimeters. These things they are just for you to understand. So you just choose the default one. In Photoshop, we have in design theorem. In designing, we have two types of color theory. We have the RGB and then the CYMK. So the RGB basically means what? Red, green, blue. That is what I want you guys to stick with. For now, the bitmap, the grayscale, the CMYK, and then the lab color, you will leave it for later. But right now, I just want you guys to understand that in Photoshop, we have, or in designing, we have color theorems, and then the color theorems comes with a whole lot. So all you need to understand is the RGB. The RGB is the red, green, blue, and then this what makes up what the primary colors. I hope you understand. So with the RGB2, we have something called 8-bit and 16-bit. So it shows how the design you are going to do it to show out. The bit shows how the design you are going to do it to show out. So for now, since my machine, for instance, it is just 16 gig machine, even though it is fast, I just like using 8-bit so that I don't crash my machine. So I think we should all stick with the 8-bit. So we also come to the next, which talks about the background content. So for instance, when I click on OK, when I use the background as white, automatically I'll get a white workspace. So let's see. Great. Okay, so please, my machine is run. Is I think Chrome is trying to make my machine run slow. So I am going to just share my Photoshop screen. So let me stop sharing and then come back. Please, I hope you guys are following.
Sure.
Yes, we are following.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just share the only the Photoshop. I hope you can see the Photoshop now.
Yes.
Okay, so that is what basically. So when I go to the control new, I come to the a panel open for me. I use my width as 10, my height as 10, my resolution 300, and then I set the background color to white. I can decide to make it black. When I make it black and then I go to the create down here, it will make the screen black for me. But I normally like using white because white gives me a nice presentation of what I saw. I'm setting the width 10 and then the height 10 and then my resolution 300, and then I just go to create. Please, I hope you understand up to this point.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is just basically concepts that you, this is just basically basic things that you can do. This is just basic things that you can do to create a new document. Okay, so now when you go to create, this is what you see, and then the whole screen here, we call it a workspace. So this is my workspace. So you're actually, this is where you're actually doing all your designs. I hope you understand. Okay, so when you come here, just like how we have what's the name, we have word, we have title bar, we have toolbar, we have property bar, we have, it's just like Photoshop is just like that. It also has title bar, it has the toolbar. Those things are not really needed. What is needed is that you know how to do the work. So I'm just going to just mention a few and then we learn about the tools. I hope you understand. Okay, so when you open Photoshop, for instance, this my Photoshop, for instance, is, I have set it myself. So I am going to set it in a way that it's just like when you install the Photoshop. So this is what you see when you install. I'm coming, just a minute. Workspace, reset. Okay, great. So this is what you see when you open Photoshop for you create a new file for the first time. Okay, so now this is the title bar. I'm going to explain what entails in the title bar. So when you go to file, you see new, you see open, you see browse and bridge, you see things like this. Let me just explain them quickly. New means you want to create a new work, a new document. So you just click on create new. It gives you the same panel that when we open the Photoshop, it gave you. When you go back, you come to open. Open opens anything you want to put inside the workspace. So for instance, I want to open this flyer, for example, the graphic design flyer. So I just open it and then it comes into the workspace for me. So this is it. That is what basically open means. I am going to close this. And then we have browsing bridge. So excuse me, the browsing bridge gives you, who asked me to even open this, the browsing bridge gives you Adobe Creative Cloud Desktop. So Adobe Photoshop, Adobe, all Adobe products are linked with Creative Cloud. So probably you've saved some of the files there, you want to open it. That is what basically Adobe Creative Cloud is for. Okay, so now when I go to file, I go to open as. You want to open as, whether you want, there are many things you can open when you use open as. But when you use open, you can only open Photoshop documents, and then you can only open TIFF documents. I'll explain that very soon. And then we have open as smart, open recent. The open recent gives you what you've been working with. Please forgive me, let me cancel this. So you go to file, you go to open recent. It gives you what you've been working with. So for instance, let me open something that I was working with, just for you to have a look. Okay, so I was working with this on Mother's Day. That was yesterday. So let me open it. So when you click on it, it will load. It will say reading Photoshop a format, and then it will open depending on the speed of your machine. Right now, because I'm having a lot of apps open, so it will run a little bit slow, but I think it should work. Okay, so this is just a simple flyer I was doing for someone. No, for our brand. Yes, for our brand. I work under New York Graphics. Okay, so let's move on. I think I'll need to skip. I'll need to run a little bit faster because there's no time. So let me cancel this. Okay, great. So file. We come to file. Wow, amazing. Forgive me. Let me cancel some of the apps I am using. Okay, so when you go to file, then now we have close, or we have export. Export means you want to save. It's another form of saving. We have save, we have save as. When you come to edit, edit gives you things that you can edit with. It gives you, let's say for instance, you are working on an image and you want to edit. It will tell you what to do, like undo, redo, and all those things. Image gives you some functionalities like changing colors, adding colors to it, and all that. Layer also gives you some of the tools and techniques you can use in it. We'll go through one by one as we are working, but for now, let's just go to the toolbar. Okay, so right beneath the title bar, we have a panel that also shows I call it property bar. Anything you are working with, it just shows a the properties that you can use with. When we are going on, you understand. So let's just go to the toolbar so that we understand what the toolbar means. Okay, so the first tool that we see in Photoshop is the move tool. When you hover the mouse over it, to show you what to move to. I hope you guys can see. Please, I hope you are following.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay, great. Okay, so let's move on. So we are just going to learn the tools easily, quickly, and faster so that you can't get everything today. But as times goes on, as you work with it and all that, you will tend to get it. So, for instance, what is the move tool? What is the move tool used for? When you hover your mouse over it, when you hover your mouse over the tool, which is the move tool, it gives you what the tool is for. So for instance, you see something called move tool, move a selection or a layer. So for instance, if I go to file, let me bring in something. So when you want to put something into a document, you can go to file, then you go down, then you go to place embedded. If you have your laptop, you can follow alongside. Then you go to place embedded, then it will open your window for you. So for instance, let me bring in an image. So I am bringing in this place. So you just click on place, then it will load, and then it will just place the document inside the workspace for you. So let's just hold on. I think because of the recording I'm doing, it is making my laptop go a little bit slower, but we will be good with it. So you realize that now it has placed an image into the work for us. So this is what you are going to do. This is another thing you are supposed to learn. Well, anytime you bring in anything into the workspace, so right now this is your workspace. This thing, the white here, the white size here, is your workspace. It's what you are come to actually work on. So for instance, when you bring anything in, you have brought in an object, and then the object in Photoshop creates a layer. So for instance, it's just like when they are arranging cement. So they put a cement on another cement, a cement on another cement. That is what it means. So they are putting it on layer. So anything you bring inside Photoshop, it creates a layer. That means you are putting something on it. So when you go to my right hand side over here, you see something called layer. So let me drag it to the top. Please, I hope you can see layers. So anything you want to do in Photoshop, it creates a layer so that you can be able to work with it. So right now, look at something. I have brought in this image. I can decide to put up the image, but it's still inside my work, and I can decide to bring it. I hope you understand. Okay, so that is what layers basically mean. So now we're on the move to. The move to, after bringing something inside my workspace, I can decide to move. The move to allows me to hold the object and then move it around. So I can decide to bring it over here. Please, I hope you are following. Okay, I'm coming. Let me on there. Okay, so the move to
Yeah, sure.
okay, so the move to allows you to move things over on in your workspace. Let me say it like that. In your workspace. So it can also allows you to reduce, to decrease. So for instance, when I brought in the image, let's say I want to reduce. This is what I'll do. When you put an image inside your work document, it gives you let me say a border. Yes, it gives you something in a square form. Let me put up this. It gives you in a square form. I can decide to take my mouse over here. Let me just increase. Please, can you see this side? Can you see where my mouse is?
Yes, please.
Yes, so you can see that immediately I take my mouse over there, it changes it. It means I am going to reduce it. So I can just click and then reduce. So let me bring my work back. So I can just click and then reduce. Yes, I can just click and then reduce. So it just helps you. The move to helps you to increase, to decrease, to move a shape, to move an object in your workspace. Okay, so I'll not go much into details. So this is what the move to is basically done used
Sorry
for.
to interrupt. Sir Simon.
Yes, sir.
Sir Simon.
I'm
Please,
listening, sir.
my toolbar is not appearing for some reason why I can't tell. Where can I get access to it?
So you go to file, edit, no,
Yes,
edit
sir.
rather. Then you go to
Okay.
preference, or before the
Preference.
preference, you see toolbar. Then you click on the toolbar.
It's not there.
So go to edit. What Photoshop are you using? Which version are you using?
2020, please.
2020. Okay, so go to edit. Are you at edit?
Yes, please.
Mine is 21.
Okay, great. All the versions work the same. Then you go to toolbar. Can you see toolbar? Edit, go down, you see toolbar. Look on my screen, you see that I've highlighted it. Toolbar.
I'm still not seeing it.
Okay, so do you know
Please,
what? Take a
you
take a
check down
screenshot.
there's an arrow there. You place the arrow to send you stuff.
Yes, it will bring you, when you click on it, it will
Yes.
bring you to a customized
Okay.
toolbar. Then you
Okay, I think I see
restore.
you now. I see two bar, yeah.
Yes, then you restore to
I see you
default.
now.
So you click on it
Okay,
and then
thank you.
you restore to toolbar. Then now it comes to your left hand side. Okay, so let's move on. So the next
Thank
tool
you.
we are going to, you are welcome. The next tool we are going to use is, when I hover the mouse on it, it shows us what? Rectangular marquee tool. Rectangular marquee tool. So this is what the rectangular marquee tool does. So let me bring in an image. Let me bring in an image. So I go to file, I go to place embedded.
Please kindly mute everyone. There is noise in the background.
Okay. Okay, so I'm muting everyone. Okay, great. So I go to file, I go to place embedded. When you want to bring anything into Photoshop, you go to file, you go to place embedded, or you can drag and drop right from the folder. There are so many ways to kill a cat. So I'm going to bring in my picture. Let me just take in my picture. Let me use this. Place embedded. Then I go to place. So this, please, when you are doing it, just take your time and then understand. Okay, so this is my picture. So let's look at what the marquee tool does. So when I click on the rectangular marquee tool, when you right click on it, it shows you 4 tools over there. So you can see that when you're on your Photoshop right now, you see that there is something that is over there that shows that this is a drop down menu. So you see, when you right click on it, you see rectangular marquee tool, elliptical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, single column marquee tool. Rectangular marquee tool, what it means that it's going to give you something in a rectangle form. Elliptical marquee tool is going to give you something in an ellipse form, circle. Single row is going to give you something in a row form. Column is going to give you something in a column form. These are just normal English to understand. So for instance, I want to make a cutout, a rectangular cutout of this image. I can just click on a space and then I drag. And then when I drag, it makes a selection for me. Please, are you following? Please, are you following?
Yes, yes, we are following.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Okay, great. So you can see that you can. Okay, let me undo this. Undo. So you click on any space. So this is my mouse. Can you see my mouse? Please, it will be best if you mute your you mute your mic so that when I ask a question you can answer so that I see that you are following. If not, I will go and then I will not know whether you are following. Okay, so the rectangle marquee tool, I click on any image, then I click and then I drag. Yes, let's say I want to select only this side of the image. Please, if you have on your mic, kindly off your mic. Or say please kindly put your mic off. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so this is the image. So you realize that a selection has been done. This thing, you can see something over there. So let's say I want to make a selection of just where my face is and where it has selected. Then I click on Ctrl plus J. Ctrl plus J. If you are using Mac, it is Command plus J. Please, do you understand? Then I make a selection. When you make a selection of that, the marquee tool, that thing that came as a pixels, immediately disappears. Then you come to your layer side. When you come to the layer side, then you put off the first layer. So please, can you see where the mouse is? Please, can you see where the mouse is?
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So you realize that
Yeah.
when I did the Control J, it has given me another layer of what I did. So I am going to off the first layer. So you realize that there's an IB over there. Can you see the eye?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Now your phone can allow you to zoom in. So you can just zoom in and then you see. When I hover the mouse over there, it will tell me that indicate layer visibility. Then I just off it. So when I off it, this is what I cut out. Please, I hope you get it. When I bring it back on, I get the whole image. When I bring it off,
I will.
okay,
Atom.
okay, Jessica,
Kodaya.
great. And Bright, please can you off your mic? Bright. Okay, great. Okay, I get you. Okay, so let's move on. Please, if you're on your mic, kindly off your mic. If you want to,
I think you should mute everyone. That'll be
I
the
want,
best.
I want to hear you guys when you respond, so that it makes it
Yeah, but some of
interactive.
Okay, then we will use the emoji. We will use the
I
emoji, so
I
it's
still
cool.
can I still can't see when you are using emoji because I am on Photoshop. So that's why I want
but some of
everybody
us
to. All right, so I am going to, because of time, I'm going to mute everybody and then I just move on so that we can all get it. Okay, so let me just mute everybody, turn off everybody's microphone. Okay, great. So let's move on. So this is what the marquee tool can also, the rectangular marquee tool can do. So you can use it to do anything you want to. So let me bring my image back. So I just off the first image. So when I right click on this, I can go for the elliptical marquee tool. I can hold a space and then drag. When I hold a space and drag, and then I click on Ctrl plus J, please don't forget, and then I off the eye of the main image. This is what I get. Please, do you understand? Okay, so this is what you can use these tools for. We also have the column, the single row tool. So it will just make a selection of a row. So let's say when I select single row, I click, it just make a selection of the row. I go to Control J, it also makes a selection, but that one is used for complicated tasks. So I'll just undo this, then I'll just bring him back. Right. So the next tool we are going to do is the lasso tool. So when you hover the mouse over it, so now one nice thing about Photoshop is that when you hover the mouse over the tool, to tell you what the tool does. So this one, it is saying what makes freehand sketch. So you can just click on the lasso tool. This is a lasso tool, LASSO. When you're on your Photoshop, you can see it. Then you can make a selection, a freehand sketch selection. If you are not good with drawing, I'll not advise you to use this tool. So when you make a freehand selection, then you hold, and then you make the free, you right click, and then so let me demonstrate it again. You right click, so still right clicking, then you move it. You make sure you don't remove your hand from the right click. If not, you will not get a perfect cutout. So then you release the right click, then it makes a selection of where you want. Then you do Ctrl plus J. So when you hold Ctrl plus J, it makes a selection of that image. These things we'll get to understand as we go on, but for now I'm just trying to teach you what the tool does. So I'm going to off the layer, the layer visibility, and I'm going to bring in my image back. So when you right click, you can see something like polygonal lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool. All these ones, they are a little bit advanced. I'll not go over it. I just want to go over the simple tools, so that as we migrate throughout the course, we can be able to understand what the others are used for. Okay, so the next tool that we are going to use is quick selection tool. I like using quick selection tool a lot because it just makes a selection. It just makes a selection out of an image. So look at what it says. Makes a selection by finding the following edges in an image. So when I click on the quick selection tool, it gives me a plus icon. The plus icon means that, okay, I am come to select something. So I can just click and then it selects. I can just click and then it will just select the image for me. I can just click and then it will just select the image for me. I can just click, I can just do that, and then it's just selecting the image for me. So when I click on Ctrl J, it takes out the image for me. So for instance, I can bring this image here. Please, I hope you can see. Please, I hope you can see. Okay, great. It's good you guys are following.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
so that is what
yeah,
basically it is. So what
yeah.
I do is that, so you see, so for instance, I'm coming. Hold on. Let me open this. So for instance, this is my image. This is the image I took when I went to the photo studio. This is the image I took when I went to this is the normal image I took when I went to the photo studio. Now I want to bring out the image so that I can put it anywhere. I use the quick selection tool a lot. So I just select the quick selection tool. Then I click on my layer. Make sure that your layer is clicked. Then I go up here, the property window over here. This one is also called a property window. Then I go to select subject. So when I click on the select subject, it will load depending on your RAM. So it will tell you progress. Then it will automatically pick out the image from the background. That is what the quick selection tool does. Before we started the class, somebody was trying his hands on something, and then he used my image. He selected the image out of the background. So for instance, so you can see that it has selected my image. So when I do Control J, it will create a layer. Then I click on the move tool. Then I can now bring it out. So you can see that it has selected my image out of the original image. This is the original image. This is the original image with the background. This is the image. So that is what you can use quick selection tool for. I hope you understand.
Yes, please.
Yes. So for instance, if you start designing
Yeah, yeah.
social media flyers, for instance, like one of my this flyer, for instance, political flyers, you start doing church flyers, you need to take the pastor image out of the pastor's image itself out of the background. You would have to take, so you can do this thing. So you can use the quick selection tool a lot, depending on the RAM of your computer, because it works with RAM. If your RAM is slow, it will keep long before it loads. Okay, so that is what we can basically do with object selection tool. What does it mean? It is going to select an object. I'll not try to teach this. You can just put an image there, then you can just click and then drag. So for instance, let me select my image and then let me select the object selection tool. Okay, hold on just a minute. I think my machine is okay. Just a minute. I want to cancel something so that. Okay, so this is object selection tool. Okay, so I am going to, you can click and then drag. Oh, my Photoshop is running slow. Please, just a minute. I'm coming. Okay, so I'm going to abruptly end the Photoshop and then come again. Please kindly give me just 2 minutes. Let me do this. I think yes, my machine is running slow. Kindly forgive me. So I'm running a software that is recording the video. So it is making the machine not to. Okay, just a minute. I'm ending all the tasks. Okay, so I'll go back to Photoshop. Okay, you can't see this screen here. Just a minute. Please, if you have any question up to this point, you can ask, and I'll be here too. There is network challenge currently ongoing. Oh, okay. Ghana there, it's not easy, but we are very fine. So I'm opening the Photoshop again. Let me now share my screen. Okay, please kindly hold on a bit. I'm opening my Photoshop again. But I hope you guys are getting it up to this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
It's not an easy thing. I'll not, as for that one, I'll not joke with you. But you see, if you are consistent, if you are committed, you'll be able to understand it. And then you get to a point you realize that even Photoshop it is the easiest that you can ever see on the planet. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. The Photoshop is now in. I am running a mini software, so it's making my machine a little bit slow. Okay, so let me share my screen now. The last time I was doing the graphic design class, they were like I was speeding up. So this time around, I've decided to go slow so that everybody can at least get a portion of it. Please, can you see my Photoshop? Okay, you can't see.
No.
Okay, alright, I'm coming. Let me share my screen again. Please, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let's continue. So we were on the. So let me go to window. Let me reset my workspace. Okay, great. So let me use the essential. Wow. Please, just a minute. I think still my machine wants to run slow. Just a minute. I'm trying to make the workspace just like yours. Okay, great. So now let's go to the next tool. So the next tool is the crop tool. We all know what crop tool is. You are going to crop an image. So for instance, I can hold this and then I can hold the crop tool, then I click and then I crop my image. Then that is it. I've done cropping. So cropping basically crops out what you don't want. That is what basically the crop tool does. It just crop in. So let me just wait a bit. Kindly forgive me. My machine is running slow today, which is rather unfortunate. Okay, so just a minute. So this is what a crop tool is used for. So there are other tools that you can there are many things that you can use this tool for. So let me undo this. Okay, so great. So now let's go to the next tool. So the next, when you hover the mouse by, it says what? Frame tool. Okay, so this is a little bit complicated. So this is what the frame tool does. So for instance, I click on the frame tool and then I drag. Okay, so it makes a frame of this. Yes, it makes a frame of this. Then now I can decide to bring an image inside. So I can just go to file. Oh god, my machine. Just a minute. Okay, so this is what a frame tool does. It has made a frame of the image. So you just need to click and drag. So probably sometimes you don't want to create a shape before putting the image inside. You just have to use the frame tool. That's what basically the frame tool does. So I'm going to undo this. So now the next tool that we have here is the eyedropper tool. So the eyedropper tool is used to select colors. So for instance, when I come here, so please look at it. When I click on this color, come to where the color side is, you realize that it is changing the color. So probably I want this yellow. So when I click on it, when I come down here, please look at where the mouse is. The mouse, this tool over here is called the foreground color. So it will change the foreground color for me. What do we use it for? So for instance, you want to do something in Photoshop and then you need a color, but you don't know the color code, or you don't know what color to use. So you come here, you come to the eyedropper tool, you look for any image. Probably I want to use this brown. So when I hover the mouse, I realize that when I come here, the color changed for me. So that's what we use the eyedropper tool for. When you right click, you get many things like the 3D material eyedropper tool, the color sampler tool, the ruler tool, the note tool, the count tool. The 3D material eyedropper tool makes a 3D selection of a color. Color sampler tool to the same. The ruler tool, it makes a ruler selection. Note tool, let's say you are doing something, you want to put a note there so that you can be able to remember. That's what it basically does, but we don't need it now. So the next tool that we are going to use, we are going to explore is what we know as the patch tool. So when you hover the mouse over it, the patch tool shows you what you can use it for. When you hover the mouse, it says replace area with a pixels. Replace a selected area with pixels from another part of an image. So for instance, when I click on it, then I come here and I come and do this. Then now, okay, so convert to smart object. Then now, please, I hope you saw what I just did. So you realize that it has taken the section, the color section over here, and then has placed it on it. So right now, this is what we call the manipulation, image manipulation. But this one is a little bit deep. So I don't want to really touch on it. Let's do what the simpler one. But I just want to show you guys the tools so that it is easy for you. So the next tool that we are going to use is the what? Is the brush tool. So the brush tool, what does it does? You can just brush, make a brush manipulation. So there's one thing I want to teach you. Anytime you put an image or any object inside your workspace, it makes it a smart object. Please remember, anytime you put an image in your workspace, it makes it a smart object. Now, if you want to be able, the smart object means that you can't work on that particular image or that particular object. What you need to do is that you need to rasterize it. So then when you bring it inside, for instance, this image is currently a smart object. When I click on the brush tool and then I click on it, it says what? Adobe Photoshop, this smart object must be rasterized before proceeding. Edit content will no longer be available. Rasterize the smart object. So that means if you don't rasterize it, you can't be able to use it to work. One way to rasterize is what? To click on it and then you go to OK. Or you go to the layer section, you right click and then you go to rasterize layer. Then you rasterize it. Then now you can use the brush to, let me increase the opacity and let me change the color. You can use the brush to make a brush selection. Please, I hope you get it. Brush tool is basically used to make a brush effect. Yes, that is what it means. So that is one thing you are supposed to know. Please don't worry if you are not getting it now. As times goes on, don't say, oh, I'm not seeing top, so I'm leaving. No, if you leave, it will rather be complicated for you. That is how we learn. It becomes difficult in the beginning, but when you are used to it, you start keep on flowing. So when you right click on it, the brush, you have the pencil to it. It's easy. Pencil is just it's used just like the pencil. The color replacer too, the mixer brush too. We have all this thing. Okay, we also have another tool known as the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool basically it selects an object and then it paints the particular pixels of the image. So for example, when I click here and then I need to so they said I need to click on Alt before I can select this. So I'll click on Alt, select this, then now I need to rasterize the layer too. Then now, please, can you see what I'm doing? That is what the clone stamp basically does.
Yes, please.
Yes. So the clone stamp basically. So what is cloning? Cloning is making a duplicate of something. That is what it means. This is English. So as you work with Photoshop, you then understand. Okay, if I'm using a clone stamp tool, so when I select a particular side of, so for instance, I click on Alt and then I select this side, and then I come here, I will make a selection. I will make a clone selection of the part that I have selected. So you can see it is easy just like that. So that is what we use clone stamp tool for. So the next tool that we are going to explore is the history brush tool. So what does the history brush do? That it restores part of an image to an earlier state. So for instance, when I click on the history brush tool, so for instance, let me rasterize this image. Then now I click here. So let me increase. So when you want to increase the brush size, you can just go up here, the properties side here, then you down click on this, then you go to size, then you click on the drop down menu, then you go to size, then it increase the brush size for you. Then now, or you can use the close bracket or open bracket to do it. So I click here, so there's nothing for me to clear. Everything here is okay, but there are some images that you have that is very, very complicated. You have to work around it. So this tool, for instance, we will not need it right now. So the next tool that we are going to explore is the eraser tool. What does eraser means? To clean. So you can use the eraser. I can decide to increase this one. Now you can realize that it is small. It is in a small size. So when I go up here where the mouse is, please can you see the mouse? It says click to open the brush preset picker. Then I click to open, then I increase the size. Then now I can clean it. So now I'm cleaning. So that's what the eraser tool is. Eraser tool is used to clean. Easy. Let me say it in easy terms for you to understand. Okay, so now this is the gradient tool. So the gradient tool just makes a gradient selection of it. So when I click on the gradient, I click here and then I increase. It makes a gradient selection. It's just easy as that. But this one we will not need it right now. We will learn about colors and all this tomorrow. We also have another tool known as the blur tool. What's that the blur means? When you blur something, what does it mean? Blur tool basically means you want to blur the selection. So when I want to make a blur of the image, I'll just click and then make a blur. So you realize that as time goes on, my image blurs. So you can that is what basically we use the blur tool for, to make blur. Okay, so there are shortcuts for it. You can learn the shortcut. So for instance, the move tool is V, the blur tool is, the brush tool is B, the eraser tool is there. There are many things you can. There are many shortcuts you can learn around this. So I will just hold on. So you realize that it is the blur effect is now applying to the image. So now the image is blend. Oh god, my machine. I don't know why today is behaving like this, but we'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to undo everything. Okay, so okay. There are many things that I can't be able to teach in all this, but this is just the basics of it. So please kindly hold on whilst we go through it. So the next tool that we are going to do is the what? The dodge tool. It lightens an area. So when I click on the dodge tool, I click on rasterize. The dodge tool gives me a little light. So when you want to give a little light to an image, this is what you can use the blur tool for. So when people say this picture there, it is Photoshop. Yes, it is Photoshop, Ampa. We've given it, depending on what you want to do. That's what we use the what? The dodge tool for. The dodge tool basically gives so we have the pen tool. What does the pen tool does? The pen tool acts like a pen. So for instance, we can use the pen tool to draw a shape. We mostly use the pen tool to draw a shape, or we use the pen tool for a selection. So for instance, when you want to use the pen tool to draw a shape, you click on P, then it selects the pen tool. So it makes and changes parts or shapes with anchor point and handles. So it has something we know as anchor point. It has something we know as handles. It is easy. So you get to understand. So for instance, I want to draw a square shape. I just want to make a square shape. So I click over here, 1 point. I make a rectangle has two sides being equal. So I'm going to make the length the same and then the breadth. So this is one way to draw a shape. So this one does not really look like a rectangle, but I can adjust it. So mostly what I normally do is that I use the ruler. So if you can't see the ruler, this is the ruler. This is the ruler part of Photoshop. So if you can't see the ruler, you can go to view, then you go to rulers, then it will bring the ruler. So if you can't see the ruler, go to view and then go to rulers. So what I can do is that I click on the ruler side. On the ruler side, I click and then I drag. I bring one side over here. I click and then I drag. I bring another side over here. I click and then I want to draw a rectangle. So I click and then I bring another one over here. And I bring another over here. Then now, the anchor point, I click directly on this point, 1. I click on this point, 2. I click on this point, 3. To draw a perfect shape, I click on this point. Just like how we used to draw a. So this is now a perfect rectangle. I hope you guys are following.
Yes, please. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
sure. It's left with 45 people, but we'll get there. So this is how to use the pen tool. We can also use the pen tool to also draw shapes like triangle. Yes, triangle. You can use it to do a whole lot of things. So that people normally use the pen to do a logo. So you can use it to do a whole lot of things depending on what you want to do. But right now I just want to teach you what the pen tool is used for. As we go on, we'll tackle the other tools. Okay, great. So this is one of the effective tools in Photoshop, test tool. What does test mean? So in this class I am going to teach you. So one of the things I'm supposed to teach you is we've done the introduction to the Photoshop interface. We've also done basic tools. That is what we are doing. We are doing basic tools and their functions. As we are moving on, we are also tackling the basic Photoshop principles. So the next tool we are going to explore is the what? Is the test tool. What's that? What do test do? Test conveys information to your work. Let me say it like that. So for instance, the graphic design flyer that you people see, you realize you see graphic design with Simon. Please kindly hold on. Okay, so please let's continue. So for instance, I want to write something. So now when I click on this, automatically Photoshop chooses the foreground color. I was teaching you guys foreground color, how to make a foreground color. So for instance, when I just click on it, it makes a highlight. Highlights means that okay, it has highlighted the text. I want to make an edit on it. Then I go up here, the property side. Then I click on the color button over here. Then I can now make the color button black. then now it makes the color button black. So now this is a default text it has created for me. Leon, this is a dummy test. So for instance, when I want to make a changes, I highlight it, then I do what? Simon. So this is how to use a test font. So depending on the test, the text you are writing, and then the font you are using. So with test, we have font, we have um manipulation of the font. For instance, we all know what we call bold, we all know what we call underline, we all know what to call italic. So for instance, when you download a font online, it gives you something we call the font family. So the font family basically is a family, is a hierarchy of fonts. So we have the mother, the father, the grandchild, the grandparents, and then all those. So you realize that it's in order. So we have bold, we have extra bold. So for instance, when I go to this side, this is where I can see all my fonts. So you can see a font like lemon milk. So when I click on it, it changes to lemon milk. When I click on, let me use beauty. Beauty is a stylish font, so it gives me a stylish way of using the font. And then I can also use other fonts. So we have different types of fonts. We have bold font, we have italic font, and then I would explain fonts more when we move on. But right now, I just want you guys to understand how we normally manipulate font. So I'm just going to use my normal lemon milk font. So now I'm going to show you how you can download fonts online. So I know some of you have already started working with Photoshop. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So let's say, for instance, I hope you guys can see my Chrome, my Google screen, my Chrome browser screen. So this is one site for you to download a font. So you can go to that font. So right after the class, I'm going to post sites that you can download font. I have a whole library of sites. So I can just go to that font. This that font. When I type that font, I can just go to that font, and then that font will open. It will give me a whole lot of fonts that has come, new fonts if I need any font. So for instance, let's say I want to use a normal font that we normally call Montserrat. This is one of the fonts that basic designers use. I think I'm not spelling it right. Montserrat, yes. Okay, so let me look for any bold font. So bold, so it will just search for any bold font. I think you can download Montserrat from this site, but you can download Montserrat. So when you just start typing Montserrat, you see Montserrat font download. Okay, great. So this is Montserrat font. So it's a Google font. So you can just click on it. When you click on it, then it will bring you to this side. So this is Montserrat font. So now let's look at the Montserrat font, the styles that we have. We have thin italic, we have extra light, we have so it gives you the family. So you realize that it starts from the children to the parents to the grandchildren. So when you want to install the font, you just go here, get font. Then you say download all. Then it will download into your library. Then here is it. Then now you click on it depending on what you are using. So you click on it. Then now when you want to install the font, you right click on the font. Then now you click on install. So I'll show you guys. I'll do a simple video on how to install fonts and then put it inside the group for you. Okay, so let's continue. So that is basically how to use font and then the text too. So let me use the Montserrat. So you realize that when I type Montserrat, I have a whole lot of Montserrat library here. So let me use the Montserrat black. So Simon is coming. Okay, great. Then now I go to the move tool. Then I use the move tool to position it. So this is basically it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here is what? The direction tool. So this is what the direction tool does. So for instance, I want to, maybe you have, okay, so the direction tool goes with the pen tool. So I'll not teach that one today, but
Cha-
I would
we who Photoshop na anymore.
I won't Photoshop anymore. Okay, all right. I think, okay, sorry. Um, share screen now. What is it? Oh, okay, I'm coming. Let me share again. Wow, online class is not easy like that. Jessica is laughing. Okay, so like I was saying, test two. So we're on the test two. So I was like, okay, so when you click on the test, let me cancel some of my Google browser so that I can have more space. Okay, so this is a test two. So I click on the test two, then Simon is coming. So yeah, Simon is coming. So when you want to manipulate this, you can go to window, you bring in the properties panel. So you go to window, you bring in property, you make sure that properties is ticked, and the property comes over here for you. Then now you can change the font. You can also use this side, the property side over here. So you can click, but you need to highlight this. Then you can. So I'm going to type Mon Sarah. So this is Mon. I can use different type. So you realize that this is also another way you can say Simon is coming. So this is what you can use with you can use font manipulation of font. So I'll do a video now. The class is very short, but I'm going to do a video on how to actually use the font, install font, and then the basic types of font we have. Yes, I'm going to show you all that. Okay, so now the next that we are going to explore is the direction tool. I'm not going to talk about it for now because it works with the pen tool. So the next tool I'm going to explore is the shape tool. So when you right click on the shape tool, you see the rectangle to the ellipse to the triangle to the polygon tool. So when you click on this, then you click on it, you can draw. Is this a square? Yes, I think this is a square. This is a rectangle. You click and then you drag. So all this thing is about clicking and dragging. Yes. So when I right click, I click on the ellipse tool, and then I draw a circle. Let me change the color to black. Okay, so you can just change the color to whatever. You can use the property side to change the color to whatever you want. Okay, so I can also have the rectangle and the triangle to, yes, and then I can also change this one the color. So this is what we normally, how we draw shapes. And then also when you right click, you have something we call custom shape. The custom shape, you need to download it and then you install it. So for instance, I have installed mine. So when I click, okay, I'm not going to talk about this because this one is going to make the class a little bit confusing. So let me just put up this, and then now let's go to the next tool. The next tool is known as the rotate tool. So for instance, I have this here. I go to the rotate tool, then I rotate my workspace. It's easy, but we don't need this. So I'm just going to bring in back my work. Okay, so let me rotate it back. So you can bring it back 0, enter. Okay, so this is what I want. That's what you use the rotate tool for. So we have the zoom tool. What does zoom mean? You use it to zoom. Okay, so the next tool is if you want to edit the toolbar, it gives you a way for you to edit. So this is all you can understand with the tools when you open Photoshop. Please, if you have any question, you can ask me now before we go to the next item, which is actually what we are coming to do today. This your square there slow. Please, if you have any question, you can ask me now based on the tools I have explained. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah, please. Anybody with a question? Jessica, do you have a question? Okay, nobody has a question, so let's move on. Okay, so now, has somebody sent a question? Okay, so now we are going to the item for today. So with this so far, let me go over the interface of the um, the Photoshop again. So above here is our title too. So toolbar. So you can explore it. You can go and then you can basically learn about it. If I want to explain everything here, we can use almost 1 week just to explain everything. So whilst you work around it, you get it. It's not anything that you need to do. So this is my toolbar. This is where I have my property side, my color, my swatches, my ingredients, my properties, my layers. The layers are very important. What you are supposed to know today is layers. Properties too. What does layers mean? Layer mean that anything you bring into Photoshop, it creates a layer so that you can be able to work with anything that you put in Photoshop and at a particular time. And then yes, that is basically what you are supposed to know. Okay, so for now, this is what we are going to do. I am going to teach you now. I am going to teach you the font, how to make text and shape creation and modification. So if you come to the test tool, this is what we are going to do for today, and this is going to be your assignment for today. You are going to do 2 assignments. Now I am going to show you something. Now this is actually what we are going to do today. When you go to your text tool, you click on the space. Then now you type Simon. Let's say you type Simon is coming. Simon is coming. Okay. Please, are you following?
Please, yes, please.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. Okay. So, um, you type Simon is coming. Then now you already have photo. You already have fonts that are already installed. So you come to the properties window. Please, can you see the properties window? Can you see where my mouse is? Can you see properties?
Yes, please.
Yes. So you can if you can't see the properties, you go to view. No, you go to window. Then you bring in the property. Okay. So now when you type the Simon is coming, this is what you are going to do. I want you guys to download today, this evening. You are going to download 100 fonts. No, not 100 fonts, please. I'm going to download 20 fonts, and then you are going to change this by what? Duplicating. So I'm going to teach you something. You can duplicate this font. So you can right click on the layer. You go up here, you see duplicate. This is one way to make a duplicate. So when you make a duplicate, it will tell you that duplicate as Simon is coming copy. So that means you are making a copy of the text Simon is coming layer. Then now you can use the move tool to bring it down. You can make another duplicate and then you can bring it down, or you can use the shortcut. You can use the shortcut. You can use the shortcut Control plus J. It makes a duplicate automatically. Then you bring it down. Control plus J. You bring it down. Control plus J. You bring it down. So yes. Now what I want you guys to do today is you go to Chrome. I am going to drop a font. Okay, let me open Telegram. I am going to drop fonts where you can download fonts in on Google. I'm going to drop it right now into the group. If you're on WhatsApp, you can just have a look at it. Let me just drop it right now. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so I'm dropping the front right away. But let me be illustrating whilst I am So let me share my Google screen. Okay, so I'm coming, just a minute. I'm trying to change the screen. Okay, present something else. Okay, window. So let me now do the Chrome screen. So like the way I was saying, you can go to 1001 font, free font. This is another site for you to download font. You can go to 1001 free font. So you come here, you download the font you need. So Silas, I am copying the font into the group right now. So let them understand that this is the font. So site it. Okay, so I have this is a place to get font. So you can see Mythical font. So now I download it. When I download it, it goes into my download. So this is it. I click on it. I click on it. When I click on it, it opens for me to install. So please, as a designer, I want you guys to have what's the name? WinRAR as your extractor. Use WinRAR as your extractor. Yes, I would want you guys to have it so that it will be easy for you. So this is it. So this is a mythical font I downloaded. Then now, please can you see my screen?
No.
Oh wow, you
Yeah,
can't
we
see.
can see.
Yes, you need to see. Okay, so now I need to share the other. So now I've downloaded the font. Is there something else? So when you open it in WinRAR, this is the mythical font. So now you just click on it. When you click on it, another panel will open, and this is the panel. Please can you see it now? This is the panel. Then now you can see up here we have install. Then now you install it. Then automatically it will load. Then it is installed automatically. So you realize that now the install button has now, it has fainted. Do you understand? Then now I'm going to use the mystical font. So now if I want to change one of the simonis, I come to the property side and I click on the character. Then I change it to what? Mystical. Let me see whether this is our mystical. Yes. So this is our mystical font. Wow, I think this font is nice. So this is our
We can see
mystical.
the photo.
Okay, you can't see the Photoshop. Okay, alright. So let me share the Photoshop screen. Okay, so I'm about to share the Photoshop screen. Okay, please can you see my Photoshop screen now?
Yes.
So now you go to the property side, then you look for the mythical font. So immediately you install the font, it installs for every every application, whether Word, whether Microsoft PowerPoint, whether Photoshop, whether Illustrator, it installs so you can use it anywhere. So now I'm going to change my font to mystical. So this is it. And I click on it. Then it changes. Okay, great. So this is it. Then I can reduce it. I can reduce it using the move tool. Don't forget. Okay, so now this is it. All right, so now this is the task I'm going to give you. Silas or Jeff, please write it in the group. You are going to download 20 fonts. You type your name. You are going to download 20 fonts on Google. You type your name. You create a new workspace. Then you type your name. Let's say if your name is Silas, different with different fonts. It should be 20 fonts on one work screen. So you create a new file. You do it 10 by 10 inches, the normal inches. Then now you go and then you install the font. Then now you come and change it one by one. Then you send it to us. That is your assignment 1 for day 1. And then now, if you want to save, the next thing I'm going to teach you is, if you want to save something, you go to File. You go to Save. Now, you need to save the work as a Photoshop file, so that you can use it again when you want to work on it again. You can work on it. You can manipulate. If you don't do it so, and then you save it as image and you don't save it as Photoshop file, when you come again and you want to work on it, you can't work on the layers. Now you need to, the image just becomes a raw image. You can't work on the raw. So it is necessary for you to save as Photoshop file. So now, how do we save as Photoshop file? You go to File, you go to Save, then a panel will open. Then to tell you what save as. So then I'm going to name it Class Day Graphic Design with Simon. Day 1. Then I go to On Computer. So we all know how to save on laptops. If you don't know how to save on laptops, no problem. You can DM us and then we'll help you save. Know how to save on the laptop. So then it opens the folder. So this is my folder. Then I just go to what? Save. And it saves it as a Photoshop file. So it will tell you, do you want the Photoshop format? Maximum compile. Then you say okay. Then you click on it. So now this is how it will appear in your browser. Let me open the file. So this is how it will appear. You see, so look at something. You can see that the one I saved, this is it, GDS Day 1. So now it is in a Photoshop file, so I can open it anytime. And this is an image file. I hope you understand. So I have an image file, I have a Photoshop file. Now I'm going to now save it as an image file. How do we save as image? We have 2 types of saving. You can save as GIF. GIF means graphical something interable something phase. And then PNG is an extension. PNG means you don't want the thing with the background. And then JPG is a normal extension for image. So you go to File, you go to Save As. This is one way for you to save as image. Then you click on the drop down. Then you go to JPEG. Then you click on the JPEG. Then you save. Or you go to File. You go to Export. You go to Export As. A panel will open for you. When the panel opens, then you go to, it will tell you this is it. Simon, preview. Format, JPEG. Or you can choose JPG, but the normal format is JPEG, image format. Then we'll say the quality we want, great. Great means that it will be nice. This is our width. This is our height. Yes, we'll keep everything default. Then you go to Export. Then to open the folder that you want it to export to. So then I look for my Design Bootcamp 3 folder. Then I save as JPEG. Then to load, then to save. Then now, when I go to my folder, I can view it. Now this is it. This is a format of my work. Please, I hope you are following.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, great. All right. So now the next thing that we are going to do is, so this is your first assignment. You are going to download 20 fonts from online. How I showed you how to install the font. So when you download the font, extract the font. So for instance, let me show you something. when I go to downloads, this is the font I downloaded. I can right click. Okay, let me do for the Montserrat. I can right click. Then I'll say extract to. Then they'll give me my folder path name. Please, can you see my screen? Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, sure. Then now I go to extract to Montserrat. So when I go to extract to Montserrat, it will now extract it as a folder. Then I click inside the folder. Then now that I have clicked inside the folder, this is the two fonts, 1, 2. I can select the two depending on the family that I've downloaded. Sometimes you can download it and it will be like 13 font. The family will be 13. You have, if it's a sans serif font, you have italic, bold, their family. So parents, grandparents, just like that. That's how I explain it for people to understand. So you select the font, all of them. If you want to install all of them once, then you right click. Then a panel will come. You see preview, you see print, you see install. Then you click on install. It says that I already have the Montserrat font, so I don't need it anymore. So I'll just cancel. Okay, sure. So that is how to install the font. So now the next thing that we are going to do for today, just for the basic we've learned today, we are going to create shapes. So what you are going to do is that you are going to create a rectangle shape. You are going to, yes, today we talk about, so let's go to the shape 2. So the shape 2 is the U. So you click on the shape. This is the rectangle 2. You click, you drag the rectangle. This is it. Then you come to the properties. Then you see something we call appearance. You see transform. Transform is for changing the width, the size, or the angle in which it is. Then you go to fill. Then the fill, you can choose any color you want. So if you don't find any color here, you can right click on the color picker. When you click on the color picker, a panel will come for you. Then you can select any color you want. So you can select any color you want. So let's say I'm going to use this type of blue. So when I click on OK, it will change. So now I want you to create shapes with different colors also for today's assignment. So you have a rectangle shape, you have a triangle shape, you have a circle shape, you have a polygon shape, and then you change the colors for each, and then you make sure there's something in Photoshop we call alignment. I was supposed to teach that, but I'll teach that tomorrow. Alignment basically means that you're aligning something to be in the correct position. So for instance, I want this one to be in the middle. All I'll do is that I'll drag it to the middle, or I can select the whole work, Control plus A. This is just a tip I'm giving you. This is not really part, if not you'll be confused. Control plus A. Control plus A will select the whole work. Then with my rectangle tool selected, I go up here, the properties window. Then I click on the align horizontal center, just like Word. If you've used Word before, yes, align, then it will align it for me. Simple and easy. So that's what we use alignment for. So with this, I want you to also create shapes and then the text, and then change colors for the shapes, change colors for the text, and then submit it. When you submit it, you write your name under it, and then we move on. So that is basically the basics on Photoshop. There are more to Photoshop. There are much more. This is just the easiest that you can see that we can explain to you for you to understand. So I think I'll stop sharing my screen now. Let me share only one portion of the screen. Okay, and then if you have any question, you can then ask. Hello, please if you have any question, please you can, you can speak. I think your minds are unmuted. Please, you have any question up to this point? If you don't understand anything, let me explain to you now. You know, the only way you can understand Photoshop if you do live live illustrations to you. You can't use theory for Photoshop. No, it doesn't work like that. But you can read around it and then you do it practically. But you can't say you are reading to understand. No, you read and then you illustrate to you and then you understand. Please, if you have any question up to this point, please you can ask.
Okay, I think for now I don't have any question, but what I just want to say, as time goes on, that we'll be dealing with the as today you have talked about the shapes and then the tools. Right, as time goes on, when we begin to use them one by one in designing, we'll be having difficulty. So that is where the questions will be coming from. So as for
Okay.
now, as we haven't go deeper into the tools, how it's being used, we think for now there is no question that I can ask about it
Okay, sure.
unless we go deep more into the tools.
Okay, all right, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, for your contribution. Please, who also have young Kelly? So I can see you want to speak.
Yeah, I have a question
Okay.
too. Concerning the quick selection tool, I think I was just fumbling with it. And how to undo? I didn't see that one too. If you could help me with that, I would be grateful.
Okay, so the quick selection tool. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so let's say you have my picture for instance in this, and then you right click on the quick selection tool. You make sure you have the layer selected. You go to select subject. This is an easy way for you to do the quick selection tool. It will load. When it loads, it will load. That means it is selecting the image. It is going to select my image out of the main background. Then I click on Ctrl plus J, or I can just duplicate. Then it will take out the image out of the background, out of the original image. It will take out what it has selected out of the original image, if this is what you are talking about.
Yeah, sure, that's it.
And then if you want to undo, you can go to edit and then undo move. Edit, undo move. You can do it one by one. Edit, undo move, edit. So I can redo it. I can redo it. Or you can use Ctrl Z. So Ctrl Z undo, Ctrl Z undo, or Alt Ctrl Z to redo. Some machines will give you Ctrl Y, but it is Alt Shift plus Ctrl Z. Please, I hope you understand.
Yeah, sure, thank you. I get you.
Okay, sure. Please, who else has any question?
So please, can you please retouch the pen too?
Okay, so the pen tool used to used to create shapes. It used to create a whole lot of things. We use it for creating logos. We use it for manipulation of shapes. We use it to draw many things. So, for instance, let me share my screen. I have the pen tool selected. I click. I bring in my rulers. I like using the rulers because it is pen. So pen makes me draw very well. Then I click here. I click here. Then I click here. So at any point that you click, it is known as the anchor point. I can come up here and then change the color to red. I can also decide to say, okay, I'm putting something and then I click and then I drag. Please, I having a look at it. I can also click here, then I can
Yeah.
say, oh, I want it to be like this. So depending on what you want to do with the pen tool. So it's used for drawing shapes. So for instance, somebody will say, okay, I've drawn this. Now let me draw another thing again. Let me probably draw a rectangle. And then I'll use the move tool to bring the rectangle inside. And then this is my logo. somebody can do this. Or let me say, okay, with the pen tool selected, let me change this color to white. Somebody can use this as his logo. So the pen tool is used for creating shapes, manipulating shapes, and then other things that you can work around it. Please, I hope you understand.
Yes. Okay.
Please go over the stamp tool. I mean the clone stamp tool. Okay, so the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool means you are making a clone of. What does cloning means? Cloning means you are making a duplicate. Let me say a duplicate or a copy. Yeah. So for instance, I have this my image here. Please, can you see my screen? And I go to the clone stamp tool, and then I click
No,
here.
please.
I need to rasterize it. Then rasterize. Then I click here. So now I come here and then, oh no, I didn't select the clone stamp. So clone stamp tool. So I hold Alt and then I select this side of it. Then now I bring in the clone stamp. So it makes a clone of it. Please, can you see? So you see, can you see where my circle is? Okay, so now let me zoom in for you to see. Have you seen a circle? Look at something. When I click and then I click and then I move it, you realize that there's a plus icon on. Look at where my neck is. You see there's a plus icon there. Whilst my circle tool is over here. Please, can you see it? That is what the clone stamp is basically used for. Please, how do you blur an image in such a way that it will fix the background? Okay. So there are so many ways in blurring an image. So for instance, let me bring in an image. So I go to file, I go to place embedded, then I go to downloads. Then let me look for a background. Okay, so probably I choose this background, place embedded, then it will automatically be placed in it. So then this is the background I have. Now I want to blur this. There are two ways in blurring it. You can go for the blur tool or you can go to filter. Then you go to blur. Then you can choose which blur option you want. Do you just want blur? Do you want blur more? Do you want box blur? Do you want Gaussian blur? Gaussian blur means you are just going to blur it. Motion blur means you are going to make it in a motion form. Radial blur means you are going to make it in a circle form. Shape blur means you are going to make it in a shape form. So I mostly like using motion blur. So the motion blur makes it be in a motion form. So this is how you can blur an image. And then now I can decide to put my image in it. Please, I hope your question is answered. So you realize that when I zoom in, the image is blurred. Okay, great. So please, who else have another question? We are done with the class. Okay, so I want to see you guys unmuting, and then what does overlay means? Okay, we'll talk about overlay tomorrow. If not, you take us into it deeper. There are some people here who are just beginners. Please, if you have anything to say, you can say it now. Easy. So do you know one thing I'll say is that learning is not easy. At least there are some people here that this graphic design course is going to transform them. There are some people too who will not join after today. But one thing I can say is that this is a free class. I can do this class and then take money. I can do this class and then It's a free class. I've dedicated my time to impact into you guys. So you should also take it very serious. You can't just see the big ocean just like that. You need to start looking at the rivers. So you take it small, 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 small. Then you get to it. There are many people. There are my co-team people. They all learned. I mean, right from on their own. So I think this is also a way for you to have an instructor to help you. So thank you very much, guys, for joining today's class. I'll be waiting for your assignment, and I'll be posting the video on the page, and then the assignment on the page. So my brother Silas will be there to help you guys. I'm there to help you guys. So you submit the assignment to myself one, you add your name, then you submit to Silas two, you add your name. We'll grade you on that, and then at the end of it all, we are going to give prizes to best people who were able to come out the best, and then you post one also in the group. So thank you very much for your time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mama.